Good evening. We, the unwilling, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We have done so much for so long with so little. We are now qualified to do anything with nothing.
I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to participate in this kind of behavior again. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, man.
Yes.
Okay.
On February 28th, 2025, officers were dispatched to an unconscious driver, and upon arrival, the officers spoke with a firefighter who stated they found the defendant unconscious in the driver's seat of the vehicle with the engine running. The vehicle is registered to the defendant, and the firefighter also advised there were open containers of alcohol in the vehicle, and the defendant showed signs of intoxication. After the Houston Fire Department cleared the defendant was detained and driven to a parking lot for further investigation. The defendant stated she had been drinking at a friend's house, and the officer found an open bottle of wine on the passenger seat and a 12-ounce can of Lubanzi in the driver's side door that emitted an odor of an alcoholic beverage. The officer observed the defendant to have slurred speech and glossy, watery eyes, and standard filter sobriety tests were conducted. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 5 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The DIC was read and the defendant refused to provide a sample. A blood search warrant was signed and executed.
Are you telling me that she has alcohol in the car while she's driving?
She had open containers. There's no cold touch or any other indication, Your Honor.
Ms. Leggett, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm now ordering you as a condition of your bond. You are not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock in it. If I find that you drive a vehicle that doesn't have an interlock, you become a danger to my community. I will revoke your bond and put you in jail. Do you understand? I don't know if you have a problem with alcohol or any illegal substance, but if you do, this is now the time for you to address it, because if you don't, and I see it becomes a problem, I will do it for you. And I promise you're not going to like the way that I do it. You understand? Now, you've got a great lawyer. Listen to him. He will take care of you. But if I find that you pick up a new case, do anything to, like I said, endanger. Now, you will also be randomly tested for any kind of illegal substances. So they may call on you to come test. If they do, you must come to downtown to test. Because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance so you don't have to waste your time coming to court. But you must stay in touch with him and he'll tell you if and when you have to come back to court. For now, I'll have you go to Ramona, sign a reset. After that, we'll have you get with Fleischer for your bond conditions, and then you're free to go, ma'am. Okay?
Thank you, Judge. We already did get a reset date, so.
Okay. So she'll need guardian there.
Jury box.
Got it. Okay.
This is a pre-trial. And then I have Wendy Moran, Judge.
Okay.
Ms. Brown. This is David Smith's client, but, you know, we office together.
Not a
I'm
problem.
covering for him today.
Is this a new lawyer with you in your office?
He's up for counsel.
Okay.
He was the misdemeanor chief in Brazoria for 17 years. He lives in Houston. He made that trip for 17 years every single day.
What was the last name again?
Moran. They pronounce it correct.
Okay. Ms. Moran, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. On February 28th, 2025, the officer observed a vehicle traveling without any headlights or taillights on, and a traffic stop was initiated. The officer observed the defendant to have bloodshot eyes, and the defendant stated she had been drinking and was at a bar. The defendant stated she had one shot of Don Julio tequila at approximately 12 a.m. and when asked about a scale of intoxication from 1 to 10, stated 2. Standard filter sobriety tests were administered, HGN 4 out of 6, walk and turn 0 out of 8, one leg stand 2 out of 4. The defendant consented to breath, and the results were .078 and .084.
Ms. Moran, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming, I will revoke your bond, put you in custody. Do you understand?
Yes.
Any prior to be honest?
No priors, Your Honor, and driver's license is eligible.
Okay, so because you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance, but you must stay in touch with them and they'll tell you if and when you have to come back to court. If for some reason your license does become suspended, you are not allowed to drive, and then they'll just keep you in the loop about that. I'll have you go to Ramona, sign a reset. You'll get with Fleischer for bond conditions, and then after that, you're free to go, man. All right.
Thank you.
Please.
That's all I have,
Thanks,
Judge. Thank you.
Good weekend.
You too.
See you, Tom. Come on up. How are you? Happy Friday.
A couple cases on your docket this
Okay,
morning. The
sure.
first one is for Mr. Nick Simon, Judge.
You want to bring him up?
Oh, yep, sorry.
Is that the last name, Simon?
Simon.
Okay. And you filed an attorney record.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Simon.
Morning, how you doing?
Sir, you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On March 2nd, 2025, the officer observed a black Dodge Charger run the red light at a high rate of speed at Victory Drive in Harris County, Texas. A traffic stop was initiated, and the officer asked the defendant to roll down all windows due to the dark tint on the vehicle. Upon approaching the defendant, the officer observed there to be an unholstered black Glock 9mm handgun in plain view on the passenger seat, and there was an unfired cartridge inside the chamber of the firearm and also an extended magazine inserted into the mag well. The defendant is 19 years old.
Okay. Mr. Simon, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. As a condition of your bond, I'm ordering you not to be in possession of weapons. You understand?
Correct.
If I find that you have a weapon, I will revoke him on, put you into custody. He was a driver, correct?
Yes, Judge. He was a driver.
Can you check his license, see if he has a valid license, please?
I'll run it, Your Honor.
You're not allowed to drive unless you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance in your name. You must have car insurance. If you do not have both, then you're not allowed to drive. Do you understand? That is also a condition of your bond. Now, you've got a lawyer. He'll take care of you. I'll waive your appearance, but you stay in touch with them and they'll tell you when you have to come back to court.
I'll Your Honor.
Great. I'll have you sign a receipt with Ramona. We'll have you take a seat while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it and then you're free to go.
Sure.
Ramona, did you want to say something?
Judge has states bond.
States, yeah. Yeah. Okay, please, that way.
Judge, I have one more on docket.
Yeah,
Have a seat.
Sir, have a seat.
yeah. So no weapons and then no driving without insurance in this way. Okay, do you mind bringing him up?
He's in custody, Judge. It's a
Oh.
fugitive case, Mr. DeLorean Bolden.
Amy?
We're pushing on bond, I believe Dave did want to come down. They just-
Oh, okay, no worries. I'll wait.
Oh, wait a second. Are you, that's Brian.
Brian, yeah, I'm here
Is
for
Brian not
Brian.
going to be here today?
He's here bouncing around, but I'm his associate.
I know, but I thought, I expected him because he said he was going to come, so.
Oh.
I know, I get it. Look, there's no problem, but excuse me, I thought he was going to come, but okay. Yeah, so as soon as Dave gets here.
Okay, no worries.
Sure. Okay, come on up. Yeah.
Judge Olvera on page
Okay, do you mind bringing him up?
11.
Do you need a translator?
No, he's good.
Good morning, Mr. Olvera. Sir, you're charged with two cases. You're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're also charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. On the gun case, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. On the DWI, you're facing up to 6 months in jail and a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 28th, 2025, the officer, while on patrol, observed a black Camry driving north on a south-only street at the 1700 block of Durham Drive in Harris County, Texas. A traffic stop was initiated and the officer made contact with the defendant, the driver of the vehicle. The officer observed an odor of an alcoholic beverage and bloodshot eyes. The defendant stated he was coming from a housewarming where he consumed one alcoholic beverage, a 12-ounce Modelo, about 2 hours prior to the traffic stop. The defendant stated he did not know he was driving the wrong way, and standard field sobriety were conducted. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 1 out of 8, one leg stand 1 out of 4. The defendant was read the DIC and refused to supply a specimen. The defendant's motor vehicle was searched incident to arrest. The officer located a loaded Glock handgun found in the center console, and a blood search warrant was signed and executed.
All right, Mr. Olvera, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. Can you run him to see if he has any prior DWIs? and
No prior,
license?
his license is eligible, Your Honor.
All right, I am ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, your bond will be revoked. You will go into custody. You understand? Do not pick up any new cases. Don't be in possession of any weapons. If you have a lawyer, I will waive your appearance, but you must stay in touch with them. For now, I'll have you go to Ramona, sign a reset. You'll get with Fleischer for your bond conditions. Then after that, you're free to go. Be careful. Don't be a danger to my community. Do you understand? Yes or no? Okay. All right. Thanks. Take care.
Judge, we're done. Mr. Stewart is here on page 4, verdict.
Okay.
The public page.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on up, Mr. Stewart.
You want to call your client?
Yes, coming up, Mr. Gurley.
If everybody had a lawyer, it would go so fast. You know?
Sorry. Client's name? Gurley.
Gurley.
Running back?
Oh,
You are Mr. Gurley.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you, sir.
yes, Judge. On February 27, 2025, at approximately 11 p.m., the officers observed a vehicle repeatedly fail to drive in a single lane, nearly striking 2 other vehicles as well as the inner curb. A traffic stop was initiated. The officers made contact with the defendant, the driver of the vehicle, and observed slurred speech. DWI task force officer arrived on scene and made contact with the defendant, who had just exited the vehicle, and observed a visible loss of balance, red glassy eyes, slurred speech, and an odor of an alcoholic beverage. The defendant stated he believed he was on Gulf Freeway and El Dorado Boulevard when he was in fact far away from East Sam Houston Parkway and Genoa Red Bluff Road. The defendant admitted to coming from a business meeting where he consumed 2 old fashions and standard field sobriety were conducted. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 8 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The DIC was read and the defendant refused to provide a specimen. A blood search warrant was signed and executed.
May I address the court on that, please, Your Honor?
Sure.
So in terms of, the accuracy, I guess, of the DIMS report and the accuracy of the summary here, I take great affront with what the police officer alleges here. We do have the video cameras right now. We have the dash camera video that shows that what the police officer is alleging is not nearly what actually happened out there at the scene. As he approached the vehicle, we can see when the dash camera kicks on, he's in excess of 1,000 feet away. So it's not like he's been following him for a long period of time and that there would have been a lot covered before the camera kicked on. But there's not even 2 vehicles anywhere near the vicinity that he could have even possibly nearly run into. There's only 1 vehicle and he's within his lane and he isn't nearly striking that vehicle. As far as what actually leads to the stop, we see in the video that Mr.
I can't get into the video. Now,
Okay.
this is a probable cause hearing, and I have to give them the opportunity to respond. I can't imagine that they've already seen the video.
Sure. So I've addressed these issues with the state thus far, and I know that they've set it for a state eval to evaluate these cases. I just personally have an issue, and I've had some experiences where police officers lay out what's obviously valid probable cause for this purpose,
Obviously.
but is not accurate.
Mr. Stewart, I'm happy to set it for like a formal probable cause
Sure.
hearing in like a week where we give them time to look at the video, research case law, due diligence. But here now, when you start getting into video, you start getting into evidence, I can't possibly, I need to give them time.
Yes, sir.
Because it's
I
only
understand.
fair.
I understand. So I understand that the 4 corners of the DIMS and what the state has alleged here certainly constitutes PC. I understand.
Sure. I mean, we have, weaving,
Right.
justifies the weaving by saying he's almost hits this and there. As a practical matter, theoretically there's probable cause. As a practical matter, is it beyond a reasonable doubt?
Sure.
Maybe not. I don't know.
understand.
But, we can always set it for a hearing and I'm always ready to do it. But I got to give them time.
Okay.
You know?
So I'll allow the state to do their eval that we've discussed this morning. I spoke to Ms. Balance about that this morning. And maybe that resolves this and maybe we don't need to have any kind of hearings or.
And I'm happy to give you whatever date you want. If you want to do a week, 2 weeks, as long as you're okay with it and however long you want to.
Absolutely, Judge. We would just need to speak to the officer and do a.
Sure.
Sure.
Right. Okay.
So if we want to do a couple of weeks, could we waive Mr. Gurley's appearance at that?
Yes.
Aaron? Okay.
Yes. But I have to do conditions. Now,
Yes, sir.
did you say, look up his NCIC, any priors?
And his license is eligible, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Gurley, for now, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward. I am ordering you not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. You will be randomly tested. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, then I'm going to put you in jail. Do you understand?
That's right.
You're not to do anything don't pick up any new cases. Don't be a danger to my community. I'm not asking for much. I just want my street safe. That's it. I'll have you go to Ramona, sign a reset. You'll get with Felicia for your bond conditions, and then after that, you're free to go.
Thank you, Your
sir.
Honor.
Whatever day you want, credit.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, have fun, guys. Marcos.
Morning, Judge.
Hey, good morning.
Marcos Menchu, Menchu. Can I call him up?
Please. This sounds like a familiar name.
I don't think so. No, no problem.
I know that we've had it mentioned.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon name.
Buenos días, señor.
Yes.
Te pido, por favor, conteste a voz alta. Yo soy su intérprete.
Buenos días.
Menchu.
Good morning.
Mr. Menchu, you're charged with driving while intoxicated.
Estado de manejar ebrio.
You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine.
Una multa de $2,000.
You're going to do probable cause.
Causa.
You have the right to remain silent.
El
Anything you
silencio.
say can or will be used against you.
Será usado en su.
You have the right to have an attorney present.
Tener un abogado
If
presente.
you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
Para.
Yes, Judge. On March 1st,
El 1 de
2025,
marzo de 2025.
the officer was
el
dispatched to a major
despachado
crash
un accidente grande
on Ella Lee
en
Lane.
Ella Lee
in
Lane,
Harris County,
en el
Texas.
condado Harris, Texas.
The witness
El
stated
testigo declaró
he heard a
que
loud
oyó
crash
un choque
coming from outside his
venía
residence
de afuera de
and
su
observed the
residencia y
defendant's
observó el
vehicle
vehículo del
crashed
acusado
into a blue Subaru.
estrellado contra un
The
Subaru
witness
azul.
observed the
El
defendant
testigo
sitting in the
observó
driver's
al
seat
acusado sentado
of
en
a
el
red
asiento del
Toyota
conductor de
Corolla
un Toyota Corolla rojo
and removed the
y
keys
se movió las
and
llaves
smelled an odor of
y
an alcoholic beverage.
el olor de una bebida
and bloodshot
alcohólica
eyes.
y los ojos rojizos.
The officer observed an
El
odor of an
oficial
alcoholic
observó
beverage
un olor de
bloodshot
bebida
eyes,
alcohólica, los ojos
and slurred
rojizos
speech.
y el habla afectada.
The defendant stated
El acusado declaró
he
el
had
acusado
consumed
declaró
4
que consumió
margaritas
4 margaritas
and standard field sobriety tests were
y las
conducted.
pruebas de campo.
HGN 6 out of 6,
HDN 6 de un 6,
walk and turn 8
caminar y
out of 8,
voltear 8 de un 8,
one leg stand 4 out of
una pierna
4.
4 de un 4.
The defendant did
El
not consent to
acusado
breath
no dio
and a
permiso
blood
para su
warrant was
aliento,
signed and executed.
fue ejecutado una orden.
Mr. Menchu, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. Any prior DWIs and a license?
No prior, Your Honor, and there's no license on file.
Mr. Menchu,
Señor Mancho,
I don't know what your immigration status is,
lo
but
migratorio,
if you're not in this country with permission and you go to jail
la
and
cárcel,
immigration finds you because they sweep it on a daily basis, they will put a detainer on you and you will be stuck like Chuck in custody until this case is over with. And then you will be shipped off to immigration. Heed this warning. You will not get another. I see it happen every day where people get ICE hit detainers and they sit in custody for 6 to 9 months. I'm now putting conditions on your bond. If you violate these conditions, then I will put you in jail. The first condition is you are not to drive. If you do not have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, then you're not allowed to drive. I don't care what is going on in your life. I don't care if there's a burning building and you have to save 50 people, babies, whatever. Do not drive. The next condition is you're not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I will randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol
consumió alcohol
and or
o
illegal drugs, likewise, your bond will be revoked and will go into custody.
fianza, pues, vamos a-
Pre-trial services is going to call you to go take a test. If you fail to show up for the test, then a warrant will issue for your arrest.
un orden de arresto.
Do you understand what's expected of you?
Yes.
You get no more warnings. If you don't believe me, ask Marcos. He'll tell you good and well.
Señor Marcos le dice,
For now, I will have you come up to us here, swear to us that you're not going to drive.
y te va a jurar que
I will get you to Ramona where you will sign a reset. After that, you will get Felicia for your bond conditions.
después de eso,
Then you're free to go.
es de fianza, entonces lo
Thanks,
puede.
Marcos. Okay, take,
Judge, we have 2 more things.
let's do it. Well, we got Tony.
Herrera,
Hey, here, Mr. Bonds. Just, while I have Tony here real quick, can I just,
Judge, he has an arraignment that's in custody, his rights.
we can do that right after we do these two.
Herrera.
Come up.
Buenos días, señora Presidenta. Yo soy su intérprete. Por favor, conteste a voz
What
alta.
is it? Ramona, who's this?
Herrera on page 4.
You were Rachel Herrera. Ms. Herrera, you were charged with theft. You were facing up to 6 and $1,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Can we also do the other one as well? Might as well.
It's a DWI.
It's okay.
Sure, okay. The last one. And Judge, that one's on page 17.
Got it.
Buenos días, señor Jesús, intérprete. Por favor, conteste todo a voz alta.
Both of you are charged with criminal cases. We are going to do probable cause on each of your
Uno
cases.
de sus casos.
After that, we will determine whether we will do bond conditions. Each of you have the right to remain
El
silent.
derecho a tener silencio.
You have the right to have an attorney
El derecho a
present.
un abogado
If
presente.
you cannot afford one,
Un abogado, uno se le nombrará.
let's start with Ms. Herrera.
Yes, Judge.
Empezando con ella.
On March 1st,
El 1 de marzo
2025,
del
the officer
2025,
made
los
contact
hicieron contacto
with the suspect and
Con la-
complainant inside a JCPenney's
con
loss prevention office.
JCPenney.
The loss prevention team provided all information needed to place the suspect in custody.
Y en la
The
sospechosa tenía la persona bajo
complainant and loss
custodia.
prevention team
El equipo de
advised
prevención
they observed the
dijeron que
suspect
observaron a
on
la
CCTV footage
sospechosa
select
en
multiple
la
items
cinta,
on the store
poniendo
floor
múltiples
before
artículos
entering the dressing room with a
antes de entrar al
backpack
salón
she
de
brought in. The suspect
cambio
then
de la
exited the dressing room
mochila que
without any
tenía.
items.
Entonces
The
salió
dressing rooms
sin
were swept by
artículos.
loss prevention before
Miraron
and
el
after occupied by the
Salón
suspect,
de-
and the suspect exited all points of
ella salió de
sale
todos
without
los
attempting to
puntos,
purchase.
todos los puntos
The
de
total
venta sin
amount was
tratar de pagar. La
$203.
cantidad total fueron $203.
Going, did they find something else? Because it looks like she picked up a second case as well.
Furthermore,
Dice,
when
además,
they took her to Humboldt jail,
además, cuando
during a
llevaron a
search
la
at the
cárcel,
jail,
ambos
the staff
hicieron
found folded dollar bills in the defendant's jacket
encontraron
pocket,
dólares
which contained a
en el
white powdery
bolsillo
substance identified
de
as
la acusada que
cocaine,
tenía,
weighing
se
0.16
identificó como
grams.
cocaína, que pesaba punto.
Ms. Herrera, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case.
Para seguir haciendo
I'm ordering you as a
paso.
condition of your bond not to consume
Yes.
alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs,
Yo
then I will revoke your bond, put you in jail.
revocar tu fianza, lo pongo en la cárcel.
You're also ordered not to go back to any JCPenney as
Regrese a
well.
ningún JCPenney's.
Okay, so let's start on Mr. Velasquez now.
Velasquez. Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Velasquez, you were charged with driving while intoxicated.
Ebrio.
You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine.
Yes, Judge. On March 1st, 2025, the officer responded to a loud music complaint from a vehicle at Main Street, South Houston, in Harris County, Texas. The officer made contact with the defendant, who displayed slurred speech, a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, and very poor balance. Standard field sobriety tests were administered, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 5 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant consented to breath with results of 0.142 and 0.139.
Is he listening to music while being Hispanic? Really?
So that was the basis of the stop, was the loud music complaint, and that's when they approached the vehicle.
You never even said that he was driving.
And that's all there is, Your Honor.
Was he driving?
He was in the vehicle, but we don't have, and Your Honor, we understand, yes, there's nothing in the
says
DIMS.
he was driving either.
We don't have that information, Judge, so we understand if you find a PC.
Mr. Velasquez, I'm going to find that there's no probable cause to go forward with your case. You know, you need to be very careful, especially if you're not in this country with permission. There are a lot of people here when they go to jail and they don't have permission to be in this country. Immigration sweeps it on a daily basis, every 4 to 6 hours, you know? And if they find you in custody and you're not here with permission, they'll put a detainer on you and you'll be stuck in there for who knows how long. I don't know what your status is, but be very careful how you act. You understand? All right, please take a seat for me, sir. I've placed conditions on your bond, ma'am. If I find that you violate these conditions, I will put you in jail.
En la
I
cárcel
will protect my community at all costs. It doesn't matter to me what's going on.
lo que está
Do
sucediendo.
you
¿Me
understand?
entiende?
So do you have the ability to hire a lawyer or would you like to apply for a court-appointed lawyer,
Tiene
ma'am?
nombre de un abogado de planta. Por pone.
So, Judge Goin will give you an application. I'll have you fill it out and then I'll take a look at it. For now, I'll also have you sign a receipt
Y
with
también tiene que
Ramona. You will get with Fleischer your bond conditions and then we'll have you take a seat in the jury box, ma'am.
Hizo para las condiciones de fianza, siéntese.
She's being monitored. Okay. Mr. Pons was waiting, but
No, not.
Mr. Pons, and he's been so
Waiting patiently to.
patiently.
I was gonna ask for a PR bond for Miss Rice. She's got a parole hold. After this, I'm gonna talk to her about the next step.
But if I mean, are they going to send her to parole then? If we give her a PR bond?
I'm sorry?
Will they send her to?
Yeah. But then if you give her a PR bond, we can have the next conversation about taking care of the case today.
I don't know. What do you,
Or send her any bond. Sorry.
Deputy Miranda, would you mind bringing Miss Rice out? Yeah.
It's gonna, okay.
I don't know anything about anything. So let me see.
She has a parole hold for failure to report. She's got a false ID while having a parole hold. So if you give her a PR bond, she's still gonna be there. Parole's gonna come and talk to her.
Yeah.
I have all the discovery in the case, so my plan's to talk to her about that after I talk to her about her bond rights.
Guys, what say you? Talk about Miss Rice.
Yes, Judge. And I
Sure.
have spoke to defense. We have offered a time served in this case.
What's your position on the PR bond?
On the PR, I mean, we would like to get the case resolved before she's sent over,
You're okay with the PR bond?
but
She would still be in custody.
She's not, I mean, she's got a parole hold, so it's, but my only issue is, do they send them to?
If there is a parole hold, I don't think it matters what bond.
Right.
They're not gonna pick her up or take
I
her.
doubt it.
I
They're
don't.
gonna wait and.
Wait till this is done. Okay.
They want to see this resolved, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But, you know,
They're gonna.
I want to be kosher. Make sure I get
Let you
the
going.
bond set first.
Tell them not to worry about it. We're good. Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
I'll get her. You got it.
Thank you. I'll be right back.
Judge, yes, on the PR bond?
Yeah. Mr. Beadle, did you want to talk about something?
Yeah, Judge, I'm in the rain. That's why I'm playing PC and then it. I'm teaching this young man how to grow a beard. I teach everybody.
I need help too. I can't grow a mustache. It looks like, you know. You ready?
I'm absolutely.
Please.
Yes.
We talking.
Mr. Madrono, Judge. Cable Madrono.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Madrono. Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On March 1st, 2025, the officer observed a white Honda CRV involved in a minor accident. The defendant was traveling southbound on Dennis Street when he struck a 2016 gray Lexus. The defendant admitted to consuming alcohol recently and standard field sobriety tests were administered. HGN 4 out of 6, walk and turn 6 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant refused breath.
Hey, he admitted to consuming alcohol recently. So what?
And Your Honor, there are no other indications of intoxication listed in the DIMS.
No slurred speech, no bloodshot eyes, no,
We don't have that.
not even an odor of alcohol.
No, Your Honor. None
Your
of that.
Honor, what we do have is that there's an accident and another officer told him that he thought that the defendant was intoxicated. We don't know what that other officer observed,
Right.
based on the DIMS facts.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to find no probable cause. Mr. Madrono,
I'll explain.
hey, be careful, man. I mean, look, every single day, someone dies from an alcohol-related collision in our county. Every single day. $50, $40, Uber, anywhere you want to go. Don't matter where you want to go. You know what I mean? All right. Good luck. Please.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks.
I'll do it Tuesday. I'll tell you what it is. Whatever stats, just charge that.
Judge, ready for the rest of it?
Yeah. Oh, what? No. Hold on. Ms. Strong, I've got two more lawyers here.
He's here on.
Good morning, Judge. I have
Hi.
Jose Guerrero. He's there. He's the one that you sent for a drug test yesterday.
Okay.
Yes, he's here.
Mr. Guerrero?
Judge was negative.
Oh, negative. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll just give you a normal reset then. So, Mr. Guerrero,
Thank you.
just take a seat. You're good. We'll just give you a normal reset then. Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, for sure. You have anyone else?
I have Guadalupe Guerrero on docket. He was on docket yesterday, so I'm not sure why he popped up today.
He signed conditions and everything, Judge.
I don't,
It's because we raised, I think, the dollar on the original sold.
that's why. Whenever we revoke someone's bond and then, raise it even $1, whatever, they always auto-populate the next day. So that's
Okay.
why. But we can just give you the date, whatever you want, regardless. So
Okay.
you want to just chat with Ramona here? She's in the court, in the virtual court. Just whatever date you want. You're good.
I'll chat with her. Thank you, Judge.
Thanks. Colin.
Judge, what was the amount on the PR bond? Just 100?
Just whatever it is now. It doesn't matter.
Yes, Judge.
There's a bond. Is there a bond set? Or,
Judge,
Can you hear me?
then leave it there. Hey, Colin. So you're saying, is there a problem with the PR bond?
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on.
Can you not hear me?
No. I'll jump out and come back in.
Log out. Frank.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, Rich. Like your seat.
What's going on, man?
Morning,
I came.
Son?
Yeah, my son.
Nice. That's right. Good job.
Thank you.
You've already been here before, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Consent to search the vehicle and the defendant consented. The officer found a ball of white capsule labeled tramadol on the front passenger seat. The defendant told the officer she did not have a prescription.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. Can you run your license?
Yes, Judge.
The only issue I have with the case is what's the reason for the search? I mean, it's just nothing.
She agreed to it. I mean, that's.
I understand.
Her license is eligible.
Okay, as long as you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance, you may continue to drive. I am ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs or unprescribed controlled medication. If I find that you're consuming any kind of illegal pills that are not prescribed, I will put you in jail. Do you understand?
I understand.
You missed court. I'm gonna give you a get out of jail free card today, but you're not gonna get another one. You miss court again, it's really not gonna go well for you. I will revoke your bond and put you in custody. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
No more PR bonds. You pick up a new case, violate conditions, don't stay in touch with them. That's it. I'm not asking for much.
Judge, reinstatement?
Yeah, we'll reinstate the bond now. I'll leave it at 2501. Get ready because you will be tested. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so,
For the record, it was for her mom.
well,
But yeah, we got to, yeah, so.
just get it and you guys do what you need to do. I want to make sure that she's just not using. You know, the problem is, and what a lot of people don't understand is they go out, they party, they take these days. You have no idea what you're taking. Just not even like a little bit of fentanyl kills you, you know? You take oxy, take too much, you put your lungs to sleep, you die. So you got to be careful. I don't know whose, I'm just, be careful. That's it. You got but one life. All right. We'll have you sign a reset with Ramona, get you Felicia for your bond condition, Felicia, and then you're free to go.
Thanks, Judge. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Rand.
I appreciate the effort, Judge.
Okay, Colin, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Super.
So you're saying that there's a problem with the occupational?
No, there's no problem at all, Judge. I got him and he has a 2-year suspension for an ALR. I got that. I got an occupational license for him in November. He pled to a DWI first in December and then met with his probation officer in January. She's decided that she is a license guru and that his occupational license needs to be signed by you. There is no suspension coming from you, Your Honor. He's on
Right, I didn't
probation.
suspend it.
No, and all he has to do is the DWI education course, and there will be no suspension from you. So she has wasted his time, your time, the CLO's time, and I'm sorry for being here to even bother you. He has no other issues at all. He just started. But he had to take time off work to come here and deal with this because she ordered him.
You didn't represent him on the initial case, did you?
No, Judge, I did not.
It was someone else.
It's George rule.
I remember.
They just want to make sure that occupational is appropriate.
There's absolutely no reason why you need to admonish him, Judge. He's on probation.
I'm not going to. I won't.
I know.
I won't.
I know. I appreciate it.
Do you want, what do you want me to run?
That
I'm
you
in no,
for him to use it, or I can just have him sign it.
and Judge, I don't want to waste your time or the CLO's time. If I can email her personally, and I will CC you and the CLO to let her know what you say about this.
Please include the state so it's not ex parte. Okay. Include the state for whatever though.
I'll include the state, but it is an ex parte situation, so I mean, I guess it's
Okay, I
probation,
approved it, Colin. So
okay. I appreciate it, Judge.
Okay, man.
Hey,
He's here. Do you want me to let him go?
Yeah, if we could.
Shatori's going to talk to him real quick.
Okay. Hey,
Let him-
I speak in dichos a lot too. So how do you say? ¿Cómo se dice Chuck, stuck like Chuck?
In what? In Spanish?
Español.
I don't know. That's why we got translate. You know.
Good deal. All right, Judge.
All right, Brad. Take care, man.
You too. Have a good weekend.
Judge, I know you told James Pond that you were going to give a PR bond to Alicia Rice, but she had already received a GOB and an AC court. She's only being held on a motion to revoke parole. It's a whole.
Then leave it. Then there's no need to do a PR bond. If she got a.
It's just a parole.
Right. Okay. No, you're right. Is James here or no?
He walked out before I could tell him.
Okay. All right, Ramona, you ready?
Yes, Judge.
Let's roll.
Bird, page 1 and 2. Oh, on page 1, sorry.
Courtney Bird, come up. Mr. Bird, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with reckless driving and unlawful carrying of a weapon. On the reckless driving, you're facing up to 30 days and or a $500 fine. And on the gun case, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On March 1st, 2025, at approximately 1:18 a.m., the officer observed a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed, and the officer had to drive in excess of 130 miles per hour.
130?
Yes, Judge. And the vehicle exited from the highway, and the officer paced the vehicle bumper to bumper between 100 and 105 miles per hour. The vehicle was changing lanes and driving around vehicles that were traveling at the posted speed limit of 45 miles per hour. The officer caught up to the vehicle to get a closer read and paced the vehicle again at 92 miles per hour. The vehicle drove through a stale red light without stopping and into the intersection at 51 miles per hour. A traffic stop was conducted, and the defendant stated he was driving that way because he was on his way to his baby mama's house and that she wanted to go to the doctor. The defendant stated that he may have outstanding traffic tickets. The officer asked the defendant if he had any guns in the vehicle, and the defendant stated he did not. The defendant was arrested for reckless driving, and an inventory search of the vehicle was conducted, and the officers located a loaded semi-automatic gun found between the driver's seat and the center console. The defendant stated the firearm belonged to his girlfriend, and the defendant made further references and threats towards the officer.
Mr. Byrd, you understand that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect my public at all costs. And if that means putting you in jail and making your bond sky high, I will do it in a heartbeat. Do you understand? You are not allowed to drive, and you will be signing an affidavit with me today, promising me you're not going to drive. If I find that you do, I can have a contempt hearing every single time you drive. It's an offense in and of itself. Do you understand? And finding that there's probable cause to go forward on the reckless driving in addition to the gun case. You're also ordered not to be in possession of any weapons as well. If I find that you have a weapon, you pick up a new case, violate conditions in any way, I will revoke your bond on both cases, put you in jail, no more PR bonds. Do you understand? Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer? You work these, what do you do with yourself these days?
I just lost my job due to this case.
Okay, I'll have you fill out an application. Deputy Rand is going to give you an application. I'll have you fill it out. I'll take a look at it. Keep my county safe. Do you understand? Come on.
Step over here, Mr. Berg. Can you raise your right hand for me, sir? You sworn affirm that you will not give me someone guilty without a valid 65 or something? And no shame. You don't, I mean, you don't have a valid 65 or something?
I have one.
From? Okay.
And Your Honor, on further the state's conditions, no weapons in addition to the no
Yeah,
driving.
so no driving, no weapons.
Yes, Judge.
If you can file it, please.
Yes, Judge.
Jamal Crump, come up. Mr. Crump, you are charged with unlawful restraint. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On March 1st, 2025, at approximately 2:27 p.m., the officer was dispatched to a disturbance call in Harris County, Texas. Upon arrival, the officer met with the complainant, who stated that her child's father caused the disturbance and got her kicked out of the motel. The complainant stated her and the defendant got into an altercation due to the defendant trying to take a child away that they have together, and the complainant not wanting to be together anymore. The complainant was attempting to leave the room when the defendant began sitting against the door, preventing her from leaving. The complainant stated she grabbed the defendant by his hair and started striking him with a closed fist because she was in fear for her safety due to a previous offense report from Harris County Sheriff's Office. The defendant called his brother, and the defendant's brother entered the room and started recording the incident, and the defendant was trying to leave with the child, and the complainant attempted to get him away from the defendant. The complainant was unsuccessful, and the child bumped his head on the door, and the complainant stated she knew the defendant by name, age, and sight. The officer was able to locate the defendant's driver's license and positively identified the defendant. Another call for service came from another location regarding an assault that occurred at the original location. Upon arrival, the officers met with the defendant, who stated he was assaulted by the complainant. The defendant stated they were having a conversation in the restroom of a hotel and that he was standing in the doorway when all of a sudden the complainant became belligerent and started cursing him, telling him to leave. The defendant stated he was punched in the face and suffered a busted lip. and the defendant stated his brother was called to mediate and be a witness. Then the complainant began cursing at the brother. The defendant stated the complainant grabbed the child by one arm and threw him on the bed like a rag doll.
Mr. Crump, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Did she ended up getting charged as well?
I do not see a charge for the complainant, Your Honor.
So just don't have any contact with this person. That's all I'm asking you to do. You know, sometimes when you have cancer in life, what do? You cut it out, because if you don't, it kills you. Some people in life can become a cancer to you as well. So that's it. I don't want you to have contact with this person. Do you understand? If I find that you do, I'm going to revoke your bond. I will put you in jail. I'm also ordering you not to be in possession of weapons as well, Mr. Crump. You have the ability to hire a lawyer, or would you like to apply for a court-appointed lawyer? Okay, I'll have you fill out an application. I'll take a look at it. I'm gonna have you sign a reset with Ramona. After that, I'll have you take a seat in the jury box. Do not leave until you sign our bond conditions. Do you understand? Okay, come on. So can you file no contact and no weapons?
Yes, Judge.
Tyler.
A couple quick things I forgot.
Okay.
On the two clients I approached on earlier, I didn't ask you to sign the blood discovery orders. I've had.
I'll put them in. I'll sign everything for you.
Okay, I don't need one to show
What,
from you.
is it the standard one, or is it?
Standard?
Okay.
Okay.
So some of the stuff that they've seen already.
We filed it. It's in your queue.
This is just a standard blood discovery.
Standard blood
Okay.
discovery.
Then I'll
order.
sign it.
You will sign them today?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Guys, can you put it in the queue?
They're both in the queue.
For both clients?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Judge, one of those was mine, one was David Smith, so if you see my name.
I got it.
If you can sign the other one as well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Judge, next is Frazier on page 3.
Okay. Karen Frazier, come on up. Good morning, Mr. Frazier. Sir, you're charged with indecent exposure. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On March 1st, 2025, the officer was at a Texas Roadhouse parking lot in Harris County, Texas, conducting a traffic stop. While on the stop, 2 restaurant employees approached the officer to state the defendant had just exposed himself to them by having his car window down to be visible to them and stroke his penis up and down. The employees provided a picture of the vehicle, the license plate, and a picture of the defendant. While trying to get an accurate location of the vehicle, the defendant began approaching the employee while she was on foot in the parking lot. 2 employees pointed out the vehicle getting ready to leave the parking lot, and the officer conducted a traffic stop. The defendant stated he was trying to get to a hospital for a laceration to his left leg, and the officer went inside the restaurant to view surveillance of the parking lot. The officer observed the defendant waiting in the parking lot before the complainants walked out. The defendant was parked further back than the complainants. When the complainant got into their vehicle, the defendant drove forward and parked next to the complainants. The complainants turned and observed the defendant to have a passenger window down, sitting up in the driver's seat, and stroking his penis in an up and down motion. The complainants drove off and came back to the defendant's vehicle to get a picture of the defendant and his vehicle. The defendant pulled forward again in a parking next to the vehicle with a woman facing away from the defendant. The defendant parked his vehicle and eventually drove away. The defendant drove around the parking lot and approached the complainant, who was on foot searching for him. The complainant ran away in fear of being hit by the defendant's vehicle.
Okay. Mr. Frazier, we're going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to expose yourself to anyone in this county in public. Do you understand? If I find that you do, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. No more PR bonds for you. I'm also ordering you not to go back to this place. Where was this?
A Texas Roadhouse, Your Honor.
Okay, you're not allowed to go back to this Texas Roadhouse. Do you understand? Likewise, if I find that you go back, then I will revoke your bond. So would you reach out to them to let them know that we have put these conditions in place so that if they should see him again?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Frazier, do you have the ability to hire a lawyer, or would you like to apply for a court-appointed lawyer? Okay. Deputy Miranda is going to give me an application. I need you to fill it out and I'll take a look at it. Don't be a danger to my community. Do you understand? Okay. Can you file those conditions? Oh,
Yes, Judge.
no weapons as well.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Frazier, you're not to be in possession of any weapons as well.
Okay, Judge, I just texted the complainant.
Yes. But we need to start, getting people out. So after this one.
The next one is Jenkins on page 5.
We're only on page 5. Jenkins, come up.
Wendy Moran.
Good morning, Mr. Jenkins. Sir, you're charged with resisting arrest. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On March 2nd, 2025, officers were dispatched to a traffic hazard. Upon arrival, the officers were monitoring the traffic and crowd control of patrons leaving the bars that were closed around 2 a.m. At approximately 2:20 a.m., the officers observed an altercation occurring in front of D Bar. Officers ran toward the crowd, telling them to stop. An officer approached, crowd dispersed, and the officer observed the defendant punch a male who fell to the ground and was semi-conscious. The defendant and the complainant do not know each other. The officer yelled at the defendant to stop and observed the defendant use his right foot to stomp on the complainant's head while he was laying on the ground semi-conscious. The officer grabbed the defendant and the defendant tried to stomp on the complainant's head again, who was now unconscious. The officers were successful in taking the defendant to the ground, and the officer told the defendant to place his hands behind his back, but the defendant refused and resisted by holding his hands under him in front of his chest. The officer was able to get his right arm out and behind him, but the defendant continued to resist and hold his left arm under his chest while the officers continued to give orders to put his hands behind his back. The defendant resisted and said he did nothing wrong, and the officers were eventually able to handcuff and detain the defendant.
I don't know why an assault hasn't been charged yet. I need to speak with the complainant and the officer to figure out what's going on with that. But yes, there does need to be an assault charge.
Mr. Jenkins, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to go back to this location. I'm going to put an ankle monitor on you so I know where you are at all times. You're not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication. I'm giving you a curfew. I don't want you out in the middle of the night. Do you understand? Sir. If I find that you violate these conditions, I will put you in jail. I will do everything in my power to protect my public at all costs. 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yes, Judge.
You're not to have any contact with the complaining witness in this case, not to be in possession of weapons.
This is for you, Judge?
Yeah, not to go within 1,000 feet of D Bar.
Excuse me, Judge. I had hired a lawyer, Miss Timberly Davis, TJ Davis Law Firm. I don't know. Yes, sir.
I don't have anyone here. I don't have anyone that filed any documents. So what we can do is we can reset your case to give you time to hire this person.
I already paid money and everything. I don't know what it.
I don't know why they're not here. I mean, it's already nearly 11 o'clock. Usually lawyers who get here, she may be, or she or he may be busy somewhere else. I don't know. So what we can do is I can have you go to Ramona Sanarista. I'll have you get with Fleischer for your bond conditions and we'll just have you take a seat to see if they show. Okay? You know what's expected of you. I don't care who is representing you. I don't care who it is. Small farm animal, you are a danger to my public. I only have one place for you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm sorry, sir. One more time. Judge, I see you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I granted all these.
I don't need to.
No. I just want to make sure you.
Carl, are you taking over for Bradford?
Is that the morning?
The bar name, yeah.
Quintavious Bradford?
Yes, it's they follow knowledge.
Yeah, but you're, okay. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great.
Just FYI,
I'm live streaming.
Huh?
I'm live streaming, so I'm live streaming, so be careful what you say.
Just want to let you know, the few people we held publicly about the difference. We're home with the time they didn't want.
Wow, all that,
It was the TV.
He had TB. They don't.
Oh, he had TB.
Yeah.
What? And we had him here?
Yeah, he was on a 7-day hold.
Oh, Lord.
So,
Okay, well, hopefully he didn't have TB out here.
Yeah, hopefully he didn't affect anybody. We found out that later.
All right, Ramona, you ready?
Yes, Judge. The next one is.
Is it Jones? Oh, no, that's,
Miriam Morgan.
Demaria Morgan, come up.
I'm sorry, Judge, not,
Oh, no,
at the bottom of page 10.
Nwobodo, come up, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 28th, 2025, the officer was dispatched to a crash and Houston Fire Department was transporting the complainant to the hospital. The officer made contact with the defendant, the driver of the vehicle, and asked for insurance. The officer observed a long neck beer bottle fall out of the defendant's vehicle, and the officer observed an odor of an alcoholic beverage, and the defendant stated he had one glass of champagne. Standard field sobriety tests were administered, HGN 4 out of 6, walk and turn 3 out of 8, one leg stand 1 out of 4. The defendant consented to a breath sample, and the results were 0.143 and 0.135.
Are you saying that he has alcohol in the car while he's driving?
Your Honor, they just found the bottle on the driver's side. There's no indication of being cold to the touch or anything like that.
Driver's side where?
Of the vehicle, it just said it fell out of the driver's side. When the full DIMS just says they observed a long neck beer bottle fall out of his vehicle on the driver's side. And that's the only thing that it mentions.
Can you run his license, run him, see if he has any prior DWIs, please, and then his license?
Your Honor, he has no priors and his license is eligible.
Mr. Muobodo, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail. Do you understand? You are not allowed to drive unless you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance in your name. If you don't have car insurance, likewise, you're not allowed to drive. We are going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I will have you go to Ramona, sign a reset. After that, you'll get with Fleischer for your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. When you come back, please have a lawyer, sir.
Judge, there's some bond conditions for signing the communicator.
I second.
Okay, well.
Ms. Ford, come up. Queen Ford. Thanks, Deputy Miranda.
Simon, Nick.
And I think he's got a lawyer, right? So I think he's ready to go after this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right here, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you sign those bond conditions that you. Yes, please.
They're not gonna do it. Yeah.
Would you like something up for you to have that you don't put it?
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Ford.
Morning.
Ma'am, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed for you, ma'am.
I apologize. What's the last name, Your Honor?
P-O-U-R.
Okay. On March 2nd, 2025, the officer was dispatched to an accident on the 4500 block of Southwest Freeway, and the defendant was passed out in the passenger seat of a tow truck. The officer noticed that her eyes were low, her speech was slurred, and her breath smelled like alcohol. She had also urinated on herself. The defendant stated she had one drink and was coming from a club, and the defendant showed lethargic behavior, and the defendant confirmed that she was the driver and that no one was with her. Standard field sobriety tests were administered, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 6 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant consented to breath, and the results were 0.128 and 0.118.
Where was she driving? What was she doing? All I know is that she's sitting in a passenger seat of a tow truck. How did she get there? What happened? Was there an accident? Who is writing these reports nowadays? I mean,
Yes, Judge. And the statement made statement stating that she confirmed that this was her vehicle and she drove it to the crime scene. The defendant confirmed that she was with only her and no one else was with her. The defendant confirmed that she was on her way home from a club where she consumed alcohol. And the defendant's vehicle was found stalled on the shoulder of a busy freeway. And the officer wrote that led the affiant to believe that that there was no one else that fled from the scene. And the officer wrote from the affiant's training experience that he believed that the defendant was the driver of the vehicle based on the statements made to him and finding the vehicle.
did anyone see her drive? Did the tow truck driver see her drive? How long did she drive? When did she drive?
We don't have that information.
So,
So it says that there was, Deputy DuPont was dispatched to a one-car minor accident and the vehicle was leaning on its side and stuck in a muddy ditch. The defendant was passed out in the driver's seat with the key inside the ignition and the engine running. That deputy woke up the defendant.
So someone sees her in the ditch.
Wait, I think you might have a different. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong case, Judge.
In this case, she was passed out in the passenger seat of the tow truck, and there's no other information in regard to her driving besides the statement she made. So there's no one that observed it, Your Honor. And we understand.
Let's do this. I'm gonna appoint your lawyer today so we can have someone take a look at the case for you. Okay? Ramona, do you mind appointing someone for Ms. Bohr, please? Just do me a favor. Just take a seat for me in the jury box, will you, please? We'll come back on that.
Yes,
Ashton Jenkins.
Judge, Miss Davis is on.
Good morning, Ms. Davis.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
Pretty good. Have you heard PC on your case yet?
No, sir, I have not. I've been on hold though but I haven't, they just let me in.
Let's do that. We'll have, is it, Ramona, who is it?
Jenkins.
Ashton Jenkins.
I'm right here, sir.
Come on up. Your lawyer's here now. We're gonna do probable cause again so she can just hear what happened.
All right.
Okay, do you mind?
Yes, Judge.
Please.
I'll state it again. On March 2nd, 2025, officers were dispatched to a traffic hazard. Upon arrival, the officers were monitoring the traffic and crowd control of the patrons leaving the bars that closed around 2 a.m. At approximately 2:20 a.m., the officers observed an altercation occurring in front of D Bar. Officers ran towards the crowd, telling them to stop. As officers approached, the crowd dispersed, and the officer observed the defendant punch a male who fell to the ground and was semi-conscious. The defendant and complainant do not know each other. The officer yelled at the defendant to stop and observed the defendant use his right foot to stomp on the complainant's head while he was laying on the ground semi-conscious. The officer grabbed the defendant and the defendant tried to stomp on the complainant's head again, who was now unconscious. The officers were successful in taking the defendant to the ground, and the officers told the defendant to place his hands behind his back, but the defendant refused and resisted by holding his hands under him in front of his chest. The officer was able to get his right arm out from behind him, but the defendant continued to resist and hold his left arm under his chest while the officers continued to give orders to put his hands behind his back. The defendant resisted and said he did nothing wrong. The officers were eventually able to handcuff and detain the defendant.
He is, at this point, only charged with the resisting. I don't know if they're going to do any further charges in the future for the assault. I have ordered him as a condition of his bond not to go back to this location, not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I put a monitor on his ankle so I know that he's not going to go back and that he's not out in the middle of the night. I have given him a curfew because you scare me, and I don't want you out in the middle of the night.
Well, Judge, if I can, when you're done, Judge, I don't want to interrupt you, but if we can consider, because he hasn't been charged with anything else, what I did hear is I hear that these officers arrested him that night. And I'm quite sure that whenever they called DA intake, they ran the facts down just as they wrote in the DIMS. So and the reason I'm asking that we not, so I'm interested to see whether or not the charges were outright denied, or whether it was referred.
They were
And because
denied?
we don't,
All charges were refused, and I've reached out to the intake ADA to see why they were refused.
I mean.
and so I guess the only thing that I was asking, Your Honor, is because they were refused, what we don't know is the back and the front and the forward and all the other in between of this. So I am asking if an ankle monitor not be done on just a resisting arrest and a curfew not be done on just a resisting arrest.
I'm gonna do it just for now. If I see that he can behave himself for a while, then come back and we can talk. But for now, I don't want him out in the middle of the night.
Can we just say he not go out in the middle of the night, Your Honor? But I mean,
No,
the only
because
reason I'm asking.
I don't, then I can't see that he's not doing it. I'm gonna pay for it, so it's really, I'll pay for everything. So money's never an issue. How do I know that he's actually sticking to his word? I won't. The only way I know is a monitor, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to, protect my community. If that means keeping you at home at night, that's what's gonna happen. So, like I said, Ms. Davis, you can always come back after some time. We can discuss. I can, for the life of me, understand how they would just deny. I don't get it. But
I guess when my only thing is, Judge, and I guess I'm urging it because if we have an ankle monitor on, and I understand your fears, the charges have been reduced. If we're gonna look at it in terms of being safe for the community, something could happen in the daytime. I just don't want to put, and I'm asking, a restriction on somebody who can't go to work, who can't go get Pampers, who can't go get milk. Emergencies for the middle of the night.
I did 9 p.m. If you want, I could do 10 p.m. I'm always going to work around a schedule for work, but I'm going to put it on you. That's it. I don't want you out in the middle of the night. I don't want you going to bars. I don't want you going to clubs. I don't want you using alcohol, illegal drugs. That's it.
I get you. I got you.
So we'll come back after some time. Any more issues? Talk. I'm always ears.
I know you are, Judge.
And then,
thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate you for listening.
For sure. And so you want 9? You want 10? Whatever you want.
If we can do 10, Judge. Mr. Jenkins.
Okay.
I guess I did not foresee this on just a resisting arrest, Judge. What are the hours you work?
Currently, right now, I'm at Exxon Mobil in Baytown working 6 to 6. I work overnight. I just got off work coming here.
That's a problem.
I can
talk
to my job. I got you.
That's cool. Why I was, and so Judge, that was why I was concerned. I knew that he worked. His sister used to work for me as a paralegal. And so I knew that there was some nighttime going on here. I just, I didn't know, I didn't anticipate this, so I would have had my issues together. Can we make it to where he is only to go to work at whatever day?
For now, I don't know him. I don't know how he's gonna be. Let some time pass and then we'll come back, talk to your work. I don't want to prevent anyone from working, but.
So is he able to at least go to work, Judge, and take the curfew off and say that he is to only go to work? Because if you have an ankle monitor
how do I know he works? How do I know he works in the middle of the night?
No. What I'm saying is, Judge, if he has the ankle monitor, Your Honor, then you can see him leaving from his house to his job.
No, Ms. Davis, how do I know he actually works in the middle of the night? I have no proof of that.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what, Judge, can I come and bring you a check? Do you have anything on your phone right now, Mr. Jenkins?
I got check stubs right now.
I'm not. You guys do that at a different time.
Right.
I mean, I have a lot of business that I still got. I got another courtroom full of people still to deal with.
So can I approach you next week on it, Judge?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yes, sir. I'll approach you next week on it.
For now, go out in the middle of the night.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Come on. So, Timothy, give me a second. I'm gonna get your date.
Thank you, Judge.
Or you tell me. Tell me what day you want.
I was just gonna come off docket, Your Honor, next week. I'm gonna get him to send me a photocopy of his check stub so I can present to you, because I don't want him to lose a job on a misdemeanor resisting arrest. I just need him to work. He gotta pay me. So I get it. I don't want him to lose his job. It's already hard enough for men, especially black men, to get jobs, especially with this hanging over his head. So he may lose his job, and plus he may have a situation where he can't go out and perhaps get another job.
Hey, you want to get together Monday? I'm happy to do it. I'm
Yes,
here
I
Monday.
will do that,
So,
Judge. I'll
whatever you
be there
want.
on Monday
Okay.
in person to show you.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Bet.
So his appearance is waived.
It's sure.
And Judge, we will be filing assault charges on this case at the time because the complainant was unconscious. He couldn't state whether he felt pain or not.
Did you hear that? That's
Either
why
way, Judge,
charges
I
are
just, if they're gonna file, I just need, I'll do my research on it. They can contact me, let me know, but either way, I just want to talk at least about him working. That's the very least. And then I can get a regular court date for him later with Ms. Bernal. But I at least want to come in to talk to you about him being able to work, and show you some proof, if I can. Okay.
Done.
So Ms. Bernal,
All right.
whatever date is good. I think I have another case in your court coming up. Can we email you what date that is so I can put both of my cases together?
But
And
do
then
it with
I'll come.
Ramona. Ramona's here today. It's not Victoria. So
Yes,
email
sir.
Ramona.
I'll have
Okay.
the court call, my office call Ms. Ramona, and then I'll be in personally, Judge, in person.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, wait, we need you to file an attorney record too.
We filed actually, but I'll get him to refile it. I'll get him to refile everything.
Hold on, Timberly, I'll see.
Thank you, Your Honor. We filed an appearance of counsel.
This is on. Sorry, Joe.
Jenkins? You want to say something? No, we haven't.
Bottom
I don't
five.
see one, I don't see one in here. Let me see if it's probably.
Pending, maybe?
No.
No, they need to file one.
Yeah, you needed to file it because they don't see it.
I'll have my office. I thought they did, but I'll follow up, Your Honor. No problem. I'll take care of it.
Not a problem. Okay,
I'll
Timberly.
take care of it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Have
you.
fun.
Can
Yes,
I be
ma'am.
excused, Your Honor, or do you need me to talk to Miss Ramona on the phone?
We're good.
Tell her to put it in the chat.
She's in the chat.
Will do.
Okay. All right, that way.
Just take a seat and I'll bring you next.
So Judge, the next one is Samuel's on page 13. Bobby Samuel.
Bobby Samuels, come up.
Sign bond petitions for Judge.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jamal
Vera?
Crump. Jamal Crump.
I think his attorney has to talk about it.
Okay.
You are Mr. Samuels.
Yes, sir.
So you're charged with failure to identify oneself to a peace officer while being a fugitive from justice. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 28, 2025, the officer was dispatched to a suspicious person call on Montgomery Road in Harris County, Texas. The officer arrived on scene and was informed by the caller that there was a male at the above location that had a warrant and that he was sitting on the steps in front of the apartment. When the officer arrived, he did not observe a male on the steps, so he knocked on an apartment and the defendant answered the door. The officer told him he received a call at the location and asked him to identify himself. The defendant stated his name was Levante Samuels with a date of birth of December 7th with no year given. The officer had officers on scene run the defendant NCIC, TCIC, and nothing came back. The officer asked the defendant again for his name, and he informed him the same name. An assisting officer on scene informed him that the defendant was the wanted person, so the officer detained the defendant. The officer placed the defendant in handcuffs and thoroughly searched him before placing him in the back of the patrol vehicle and was shown the defendant's mugshot and asked the defendant again if he would tell me his correct name. and he proceeded to tell the officer that I already got it. So I asked for a unit with a mobile AFIS, and the officer used the mobile AFIS and was waiting on the defendant, who then stated his name was Bobby Samuels. The officer then had dispatch confirm the warrant, and the defendant stated that he had told him the wrong name because he knew he had a warrant. The warrant was confirmed, and the officer took the defendant into custody.
So you had an open, what, felony warrant?
I'm trying to find what it was. It was an AFM warrant, an assault family member. I'm trying to see where it's.
It's a felony warrant.
It's a felony warrant, Your Honor.
Mr. Samuels, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm not putting any conditions on your bond. Just be careful. Don't pick up any new cases. I'm going to protect my community. If I find that you pick up a new case, I'm going to put you in jail. Do you understand? No more PR bonds. Do you have the ability to hire lawyers, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll have you fill out an application. I'll have Deputy Miranda give you one. I'll take a look. I'll have you sign a receipt with Ramona. We'll have you fill out the application. I'll take a look, see whether you qualify.
Okay, go ahead and finish. The next one is on page 13.
Got it. Hi, front shade. Come up.
Judge, you received any more after?
Just Frazier, which I granted.
Good morning.
Your iFront, is it Shake?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you're charged with 3 cases. You're charged with terroristic threat of a family or a household member. You were charged with assault of a family member. You were charged with interference with the emergency request for assistance. All 3 of those, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Can I say something or no?
About the case, or do you have a lawyer?
Obviously, I don't really, yes.
I'm sorry?
About attorney, and I need to discuss something, sir.
You are an attorney?
No. I need attorney. I need attorney.
I need hair. We'll talk later. Let's do probable cause first. You have the right to remain silent.
Yeah.
Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, sir. On February 23rd, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, the officers are dispatched to a threat to life call. Upon arrival, the officer met with the complainant, who stated that the defendant is her husband. The complainant stated that the defendant and her got into an argument, and that the defendant stated, "I'm not afraid of the police. I will grab that knife and cut your throat." The complainant then stated that the defendant had on November 16th, 2024, assaulted her. The complainant stated that the defendant grabbed her by the top of her dress, causing scratch marks, and punched her in the chest, causing bruising. The complainant stated that she attempted to call 911, but the defendant ended the call.
Sorry, patience.
The terroristic threat was I'm going to grab a knife and cut
your throat, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Sheikh, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer?
So this also is I don't whatever money I have.
I'm not going to listen. You have the right to remain silent. Exercise that right. Anything that you say, they're going to try to use it against you to prove guilt. So what I can have you do is I can have you fill out an application. I will take a look at it to see whether you qualify. We don't give appointed lawyers like it's candy on Halloween. You have to qualify. And if you do, then I'll take a look. But I need you to fill out everything. As it stands now, I am ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with the complaining witness in this case and not to be in possession of weapons. You are not to go within 200 feet of where this person lives or where this person works. Do you understand?
Jamal Crump?
Do you see whether a order for protection has been entered in this case? Guys,
let me see.
And Judge, the DVD prosecutor is on the phone.
Oh.
There he is.
That's
Yes, Judge, I was able to make contact with her. I'm not sure what the discussions were beforehand, but we're gonna be asking for no contact to keep whatever the residency restriction is in place right now.
She does not want to have contact with her. Okay.
And I don't see a protective order in place.
On the offender.
Is there one in the
Yeah.
But I'm going to also do one on the terroristic threat.
Yes, Judge.
I want you to understand something and take me seriously when I say this, that when I mean no contact, I absolutely mean no contact. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care that you need clothes. I don't care that there's a child involved. I don't care that you need to go get the car, whatever it may be. No means no. And if you violate these court orders, the state can and probably will file a violation of a protective order against you. That is the capital murder of misdemeanors. Do you understand? I am now entering in what's called a magistrate's order for emergency protection on the terroristic threat. This is a court order that identifies the complaining witness as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person. Commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot go within 200 feet of where she lives or where she works. You understand? This is what I'm saying, that if you violate this order, they can file additional charges against you. Now, Deputy Miranda will give you an application. I'll have you fill it out. I will take a look whether you qualify. Anything else you want? Oh,
No, Judge, I'm probably with no contact.
so can you also file the no contact and no weapons so that it outlives the, okay. Do not leave until you sign our additional bond conditions.
Yes.
Okay, please. Can you file a MOA on the parasitic threat? Because I don't see one that's been filed.
No, there's not a motion filed on this one.
Okay, yeah.
Please. Yeah.
Judge, on Jamal Crump, you ordered him to have no contact with the complainant. They share a son together. Is there any way they could have a third party for visitation?
Well, of course, they can always use someone else, but I don't. Come up, Mr. Crump. I know that you're upset that they filed this case, but when I mean no contact, I absolutely mean it. They're going to call this person now to let them know of the bond conditions that have been filed. So if I get wind that you have contact with this person, then we're going to have issues. I get that you have a son and you should have, or a daughter, I don't know what it was, but you should have access because every father should have access to their child. And I want you to have access to your child, but you got to do it the right way. You know, use someone who like James saying, a third party. Don't take it upon yourself to try to do stuff because it's going to go sideways real quick. Maybe if you have parental figures like your mom, your dad, someone that she probably likes, right? If she doesn't like your brother, that's probably not a good person to use to try to get contact with the child. So try to find someone, maybe he can also help you too. Maybe he can help facilitate as well, where she drops off the child at a McDonald's somewhere, and then you come and you get the child for a certain amount of time, and you drop the child back off at a McDonald's. But don't do stuff your own way. Are we good? Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
Judge, next is fair on page 16.
Okay. Coming up.
You're back.
Good morning, Mr. Ma'am, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. Officers were dispatched to Fairmont Parkway in Harris County, Texas, and the defendant was arguing with her husband in the parking lot and got into the car and drove off, nearly hitting him and causing him to fall to the ground. Witnesses called the police, and officers found the defendant in her vehicle near the exit with the car in drive. The defendant ignored the officer's request to turn the car off, and officers noted slurred speech, red eyes, and unsteady balance, in addition to an odor of an alcoholic beverage. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted, HGN 4 out of 6, and the defendant refused the remainder of tests and was transported to JPC. The DIC was read and the defendant refused. A blood warrant was signed and executed. During an inventory of the vehicle, the officer located 2 stemless wine glasses. The glasses contained a small amount of a red liquid smelling of an alcoholic beverage and showed recent signs of consumption. The defendant's purse was located in the front passenger seat and was stained with the red liquid matching the hue of the liquid in the glasses, still wet and smelled of a fruity alcoholic beverage.
Stare, I'm going to find that there's sufficient probable cause to go forward with the case. I am now ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I am now also taking away your privilege to drive. You are not allowed to drive. Do you understand? If I find that you do, I will revoke your bond, put you in jail, and I'm going to make it high. You will be signing an affidavit with me today, promising me you're not going to drive. It doesn't matter what you need to do. Do you understand? Not only that, I'm now placing a restriction on your license that you are not allowed to drive any vehicle that is not equipped with an ignition interlock. I send this order to DPS so that every single officer in this state knows you get pulled over, they'll look you up. They'll see that you need an interlock in your car. And if you're caught driving one that doesn't have one, they will take you to jail. Can you run her NCIC, please?
Yes, Judge. So she only has the one prior from 2000 at a 45 DWI, no other prior DWI.
Okay. Do you have the ability to hire a lawyer or would you like to apply for?
I'd like to apply for a court appointed.
Okay. Deputy Miranda's going to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I'll have you fill it out and I'll take a look to see whether you qualify. I'm going to have you come up here, swear to us that you're not going to drive. I will get you to Ramona where you will sign a reset. You will get with Plea if your bond conditions. I don't know if you have a problem with alcohol or drugs. If you do, now is the time for you to address it. Because if I see it becomes a problem, I will address it for you. And I promise you're not going to like the way that I do it. Do you understand? Okay, come on.
What's the last name?
Top of page 16.
I don't have a dog.
Oh, stare.
Thank you.
Do you need a cause number?
No, I got it.
Okay.
I'm gonna swear you to help drive now. So just raise your right hand. Do you swear from the new law, both of your care against his driver's license? Yeah. No. If you was
Judge.
Okay, Ramona.
We have one that's on page,
Oh, that's it?
we have Matt on page 7, but I see an attorney attached. I don't know if you want to go ahead. What is it?
I mean, it's already 11:30. They're not here. I don't, yeah, we need to like,
Mr. Mallard, come on up.
oh, this is the same thing. I see that you have a lawyer. I don't know where they are, but we need to get cooking. So, okay. So, Mr. Mallard, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. You're also charged with resisting arrest. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On March 1st, 2025, at approximately 11:08 p.m., the officer was dispatched to a 911 call regarding a vehicle stopped on the road with the male in the driver's seat passed out on North 8th Street in Harris County, Texas. The officer observed the defendant's vehicle stopped on the road facing the wrong side, forcing multiple vehicles to drive around the defendant's vehicle. The officer observed the defendant's vehicle's engine on, with the defendant sitting in the driver's seat, appearing to be sleeping or passed out. The vehicle was in drive with the defendant's foot on the brake. The officer observed an open container of Bacardi rum, 750 milliliter bottle, approximately 10% full, sitting in the front right passenger seat, and the officer attempted several times to wake the defendant unsuccessfully. which led to the officer being forced to break the defendant's front right window to get into the motor vehicle due to the doors being locked. The officer placed the vehicle into park and the defendant was asked to step out, who immediately fell to the ground. The officer observed slurred speech, red bloodshot eyes, a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, and poor balance. The defendant refused any standard field sobriety test, and the defendant advised he had not consumed any alcoholic beverages, wished to speak to his lawyer, and was loudly repeating no consent to all questions. The defendant was read the DIC and refused breath. A blood search warrant was signed and executed. The defendant was transported to HCA Southeast ER to obtain blood, and the defendant refused to exit the officer's motor vehicle, even when the officer asked multiple times. The officer had to physically guide the defendant out of the vehicle, and the defendant stopped walking while walking to the ER with the officer and advised he wanted to go to the Veterans Hospital. The officer advised the defendant he had a search warrant, and the defendant refused to move. The officer grasped the defendant's upper arm and advised the defendant again of the search warrant, and the defendant refused to move. The officer advised the defendant that if he had to pull him inside, he was facing additional charges. The defendant again refused to move. The defendant advised he wanted to go to the VA hospital, and the defendant started pulling away in the direction away from the entrance to the hospital. The officer attempted to pull the defendant to the entrance, and the defendant continued to pull away. The defendant went dead weight and laid down on the ground outside and refused to move while screaming at the top of his lungs, "Someone help me." The officer was assisted by hospital security in placing the defendant in a wheelchair, allowing transport into the hospital, and the defendant's blood was only able to be drawn with assistance of 3 officers holding the defendant down.
My goodness. Can you run his NCIC? Does he also have a felony DWI with a child as well?
It was reduced to a DWI just above a 0.15.
If you have a problem with alcohol, you better address it, Mr. Mallett, because if you don't, I'm going to do it for you. I don't want you out in the middle of the night, and I'm now giving you a curfew. You are not allowed out past 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., and I'm going to put a monitor on your ankle so I know that you're not out in the middle of the night. On your other ankle, I'm going to put a scram monitor so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. Likewise, I don't want you to drive. I am now taking away your privilege to drive as well. You are not allowed to drive. Do you understand?
Judge 96?
Yeah.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
Heed this warning. If I find that you drive, I can have a contempt hearing. Every single time that you drive, it's an offense in and of itself, punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a $500 fine. Do you understand? I don't care what the justification is. Jesus comes, needs a ride to church. I don't care. Do not lie.
I was trying to read what I was referring to.
I am also now placing a restriction on your license that you.
Excellent. That's all. Cool. I couldn't see them.
I am now placing an additional restriction on your license as well, that you are not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock on it. If you're caught driving a vehicle, number one, we're going to have issues with this. Number two, I'm sending now notice to DPS in Austin so that they know any vehicle that you drive is supposed to have an interlock in it. So if you're caught driving a vehicle that doesn't have an interlock, they will take you directly to jail. Do you understand? At this time, you're not allowed to drive. So you will get, well, you got the scram, so I'm not going to give you a portable device, but I don't want you drinking at all. This thing is extremely finicky that they're putting on your ankle. So know what you put in your body. Do you understand, Mr. Mallard?
Yes, sir.
If I find that you consume alcohol, anything that has alcohol in it, cakes, candies, foods, gums, energy drinks, hair dye, I've heard it all. If I find that you're consuming, it's really not going to go well. So I'm gonna have you come up here, swear to this. After that, I'm gonna get you to Ramona, where we will have you sign a reset. I will have you get with Felicia for your bond conditions, and then we'll have you take a seat while we wait for your guys to get here. Come on. Great. Okay. Thank you, Slash.
Do you want to correct the MOA that's already filed for the AFN?
What do you mean, correct?
There's a MOA that's already signed that
I wonder-
includes contacts. Like, yeah, includes contact, just not,
I think the new one, I put in the specific good cause, request for contact.
You put it in the new one.
Okay.
So I guess you could write, if you want to print it out, I'll write no contact in the old one too. So just, print it out. Let me write it in.
Okay.
Judge, for stare, it's a portable device as well.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Ms. Strong.
Yes, Judge. I have an off-docket matter. I just filed jail release instructions for Antonio Townsend. Brad
Okay.
Morse is dismissing the case. He just wants you to sign first.
Got it. Did you? Okay, I'm signing it right now for you, Ms. Strong.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good weekend.
Hey, and next time, so you don't have to sit here and wait, just type it up, put it in the chat, and I'll know, and then I'll get it done. That way you don't have to just sit here and wait.
I
Okay?
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Before I sit down.
Are you gonna do anything with Velasquez?
So, from what I understand, Vehicular wants us to do an eval on all DWI cases that are known PC before we dismiss them.
So if you want to let them know, do you speak Spanish? Okay, so if you want to let them know that they're free to go, no probable cause. They haven't dismissed the case because they're gonna eval it, but I guess have them keep checking in the website to see whether it gets dismissed, yeah, or not. But they're free to go.
Oh, right there. And what's that here? This is your monthly. Oh, I just want to make sure it's monthly. It needs to be monthly. And then give me a total down here for your expenses. Okay.
Judge, no complications on Frazier.
What? That's the indecent exposure.
No, there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's state's conditions. Guys,
Okay, I thought I did, 1 second, let me,
We're checking, Judge, let's go through them.
no problem. Hey, guys, who's that in the green shirt?
Frazier, yes, did y'all get them?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Sounds familiar. Let me see.
Yeah, then Mr. Shane.
Oh, that's right.
And then that's it.
That's it.
Right now, yes.
Hey, Ramona,
I'm sorry, Judge.
we have a Weber in the audience now.
Yes, and I've emailed a board and he has not responded.
What's it about?
Yeah, so he bonded out. He was in custody, but he bonded out.
Yeah.
You want to give me cause number and let me see.
It's on the jail doc.
Oh, it's on, okay.
It's almost there, but not.
Morning, Your Honor, we approach.
Yeah.
You have a moment.
Come on.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay. So we're approaching on, I'm sorry, first, good morning. We're approaching on Ms. Duvernay, Stormy Duvernay. This is the one you talked to, I think, on Wednesday. And they're recommending Huey. And I told her that probably is what they were going to recommend before she even came in. So she already had her mind going that way.
Right.
And she's okay with that. I don't think the state's
And I think
opposed.
that that's probably the right course of action, and I think that we should do it.
Yes, Your Honor. So the next question is how do you want to handle the probation?
Extend it.
Okay.
We'll extend it and then at least a year.
So I think November, Your Honor, should be at her 3-year mark.
Well, like extend it to November.
That's
And
what
then
the
we'll
conversation
go-
we just had before we came up.
Yeah, we'll go from there. I mean,
I'm like, I think she's getting kind of close. All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Is it 6 months?
Correct. So normally it's 3 months
She
inpatient,
does
3 months
well.
aftercare.
Okay.
Raise your right hand.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks. How long is there a wait?
About 2 weeks for all the worship.
You're the best. I don't know what to do about Abel. I guess I'll call him, Ramona.
We should be logging.
Or is he logging in? Okay, great. Carl, you want to talk about something? You want to talk about something?
Do I want to talk about something?
Yeah, great. You look like you need to approach.
No, I was talking about
Okay.
but I do want to talk.
Let's.
I mean, you can check about it.
I think they know when she does. I'll have to stand up whenever they call.
She was signed, I don't think she's signed.
You're an intern, yeah. Okay, what year y'all graduating? I have one that graduated. Excellent.
No, he was diagnosed.
Okay, so my wife, if she was still alive, congratulations. Oh. And with that, I want to have fun.
Oh, you're like 30, you pick up medication. So he hadn't been diagnosed before March 3rd.
And we had in March.
And 2 weeks.
And I'll reach out to.
The only way we know is I know things, but the girlfriend called me and Oklahoma. So I figured I'd say those.
Who's this, Rice? Yes.
Is your name Richard?
Yeah.
I was here
It's okay.
earlier. I have 2 off-docket motion of subs that I need signed.
I'll sign it for you. Just have him put in the queue. And then what about you want to do our thing now?
Waived extradition.
Oh, you did?
They were in touch with Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania actually wanted to come pick them up yesterday, but we had this set. So they're gonna try to pick them up tomorrow, so we should be good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Judge.
I'm Ramona. Shake and Granule.
You said
Anna, please.
We're proceeding.
Whoa. Double team. Hi, Harold. How are
Well,
you?
they've got 2 over there too, so.
Friday.
We're approaching on Mickey.
Nikki?
Yes, he's in custody.
Okay.
He's got a fugitive case and then he's got 2 local cases in this court as well.
So I'm assuming one represents one on the fugitive. You,
Cases.
okay.
Judge, we're going to ask if, since he has a parole holder from Louisiana, if you'd be opposed to withdrawing not revoking, but drawing the PR bonds and setting a money bond for him.
Sure.
That way, he wouldn't be snatched out?
Credit regardless. If someone's in custody, even if we don't have a hold on them, I always give the credit regardless. I'm happy to do it.
Well, and
but
Judge, the other
We'll
issue
raise it by $1.
is if he goes to Louisiana and bonds out, he has cases here and there, and getting back and forth, just setting someone up for failure.
Right. So revoke it then?
Well, could you not revoke it, maybe withdraw it? Is there a way to do that without punishing him?
Withdraw.
The PR bonds?
We can ask you to reinstate it.
It's just, we didn't want a situation where you set up a stare facius.
This certain order from Sylvia Cherry, and last time we tried doing that, it was weird. If we ended up bond revoking it later on because it never went through.
I don't know how, theoretically, I don't know how you would, because I have to have, so what would happen was I would revoke the GOB.
Yep.
And we'd basically have him sit on $100 bond that he just can't make.
Right, but if things were to change or his local cases were dragging out, we could come back and ask you to reinstate the PR bond. Because it's not a true violation, we're just doing it to keep him here to resolve his cases.
Sure.
And can you revoke it?
But like I said, I'll give you the credit regardless. If you want to leave it now as is, he's in custody, I'll give you the credit regardless, or.
Well, he signed the waiver and it's Louisiana, so they're gonna come get him.
Can you, if you revoke those, Judge, can you do it in a way that we don't, they don't initiate the stare facius to go after him for the bond amount?
They wouldn't. They won't. I haven't seen it in years.
I see them all filed, everybody's cases.
I haven't signed one in 5 years, 5.5 years. I don't even see them filed like they used to, number one. Number two, if I revoke the bond and it puts a hold on so we better not do it, because if I revoke the bonds, it puts a hold on Louisiana.
Well, that's what we want, Judge, so he can resolve the cases here. Because if he goes to.
Then I have to revoke the bond,
And then-
because if you want to resolve these cases here first, I have to revoke the bond, because Louisiana is going to come and get him if there's no holds.
You know what, and he's here because he's arrested, that's right, because as long as you're rearrested within 6 months, then extinguishes the.
So if you guys don't want him to get took, I have to revoke the bond.
That's fine.
And I can just raise it by $1. And then once you resolve it, we can reinstate it. And then that way Louisiana can come and get him.
Sure.
Because I'm telling you, Louisiana comes once, twice a week. So he'll probably be gone by Tuesday if I leave it like this. How long's it been on?
Have the cases here, all the cases there.
Hmm?
If Louisiana comes to get him on Tuesday, which they very well might, he'll have the cases there to deal with, the cases here. And if he's going back and forth, that's just asking to.
The other issue is this, is that a lot of times you will say, hey, guys, you got to stay in contact with me, right? And then they don't. We end up revoking the bond here because he's in custody over there and he can't get a hold of you, right? So it's a complete mess. So you're really much better off resolving these cases now, so that when he goes back to Louisiana, there's nothing here.
Right.
Because invariably what always happens is we end up putting a hold here, and then this reverse situation happens over there. Why don't we revoke it? I mean, it's only a trespass and evading, right? What is it, capital case? No, capital trespass?
That'd be fine. And then to just stay here till we work them out. And we're working on how to work it out, which will make sure it's not gonna hurt.
I'm not sure. It's not gonna take forever, right?
I would hope not, but I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Do you have an offer on these cases from this
We
meeting?
don't, it just came in yesterday,
Right.
but I
I know.
can do my best to.
Reasonable with
Yeah,
them too. Oh.
Our only hesitation is that she hesitant to put on an offer before we have a accurate summary of what's going on, but it looks like the videos did come in, so I'll take a look, see if we can get something on.
Can you go ahead and share it to them so they can get access to it? Okay.
Okay.
So 101? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, so do you mind? Okay, and then just let me know once you get, I'll go however you want to go. Just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, guys. Sure. Thanks, Counselor. Okay. Ramona, I'm gonna stare on Granny. Good morning, Ms. Rice.
Good morning.
Ma'am, you're charged with failure to identify oneself while being a fugitive from justice. That makes it a Class A misdemeanor. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You guys have worked out an agreement. They're offering you 24 days in jail with credit for the 8 days that you've done. You need to understand there's a couple very serious points now. Number one, this is going to go on your record. It will be there forever. From now on, you're facing a minimum of 90 days in jail for any new cases that you pick up. The other thing that you also need to understand is that you're on parole. It's very possible that because you're on parole, by pleading guilty to this, it may result in further confinement. I don't know for sure. They may send you to ISF, but they really could send you back to prison because of this.
Yes, sir.
Knowing this, do you still want to do this?
Yeah.
You give up a lot of rights by entering this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, it will go on your record. You can never take it off.
Yes, sir.
And how do you plead to the offense, ma'am?
Yeah.
I'll find you guilty, send you to the agreement. Good luck to you. Thank you, Mr. Pons.
Ms. Ford, for Raymond. EOUR.
Okay.
I'd like to challenge the PC.
Well, that's why I have you here.
figured.
Because I thought it may be problematic as well.
Okay.
So let's talk.
So
You want to hear it again?
Yeah, I haven't heard.
Oh, you haven't heard?
Oh, okay.
Okay, please. Come on up, Ms. Paul. Okay, so it's a DWI, Class B. Mr. Pons, please.
Yes, Judge. On March 2nd, 2025, the officer was dispatched to an accident call on the 4500 block of Southwest Freeway. The defendant was passed out in the passenger seat of a tow truck, and the officer noticed that her eyes were low, her speech was slurred, her breath smelled like alcohol, and she had urinated on herself. The defendant stated she had one drink and was coming from a club. The defendant showed lethargic behavior, and the defendant confirmed that she was the driver and that no one was with her. Standard field sobriety tests were administered. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 6 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant consented to breath, and the results were 0.128 and 0.118. And
We have her in the passenger seat of a tow truck.
Right, so her statement alone isn't sufficient. That's all they have about her driving.
And Your Honor, in the complete OR, there's further statements that kind of clarify the time period that when this happened. The officer stated that at 7:20 a.m., that's when he was dispatched to the accident call, and he arrived at 7:21. And the defendant stated that she was on scene and she was coming from her residence from a bar called Good Mood that she had arrived at 3 a.m. And the defendant stated she had the one mixed drink only and left Good Mood Lounge at 5 a.m. when she proceeded to head home. And the officer found the vehicle on the right shoulder stalled with the front passenger tire blown out. So the traffic or the encounter with the defendant took place 2 hours according after when she left the bar.
But none of that same, well, go ahead.
Have,
Go down to you.
so do we have an officer that actually sees her in the car in the ditch?
No, Your Honor, the car is just found in the ditch with the tire blown out, and the only thing the officers have to put her in the vehicle is her statement saying she drove and when she left the bar.
Well, that's it then. If that's the only thing they have, no PC.
Why?
Judge,
Their statement alone can't be sufficient evidence. They need corroboration.
and the corroboration we have is that when the officers arrived, there was nobody else on the scene. There was a crowded freeway. There was nobody else who could have gone to the accident or left the accident because they were on a highway with traffic and there were no other people around.
One, I don't see that the officer said any of that. Two, that's still not gonna corroborate that she was driving.
Why are you saying that the statement, her statement in and of itself is insufficient?
That's a rule. I can give you a case if you want.
Yeah. I do.
Okay, well, give
So,
me time.
Yeah, and I'm willing to, if you want, maybe like we can revisit on Monday,
Okay.
because I want to give you time. I want to,
Wait for her appearance? For Monday?
Yeah, I'm gonna put her under conditions though, but yeah.
Understood.
Okay, but I'd like to do a deeper dive on the PC and I want to know, is that in and of itself insufficient? And it'll give you more time as well.
I'll reach out to the
Let's
officer.
reach out Monday and we'll do more, I guess, a formal hearing. Ms. Poor, we will have an additional hearing on Monday to determine whether there's sufficient probable cause to go forward. So you need to stay in contact with Mr. Pons and he will tell you how we went forward on Monday. As it stands now, I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs while you're on bond in this case. Do you understand? If I find that you consume alcohol or illegal drugs, I'm going to revoke your bond and we'll put you in jail. Did you guys run a license, please? And any other prior DWIs?
Your Honor, no prior DWIs, and we're running her license right now.
You are not allowed to drive unless you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance in your name. If you do not have car insurance, you are not allowed to drive. Do you understand? Okay,
Your Honor.
great. So for now, I'm going to have you sign a reset with Ramona. We're going to set it for Monday. You don't have to be here. No. We're going to waive your appearance, but Mr. Pons will let you know how everything transpires on Monday. And then after you sign the reset, I'll have you meet with Felicia if your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. Okay? Okay, Mr. Pons. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
See you Monday.
So she needs to meet for bond conditions.
Yeah,
Okay.
she needs to sign the reset, but yeah.
Sign bond conditions to Fleischer, Judge.
I made her. I just made her.
SHIAK. And I'm also gonna approach on Herrera too.
Is that you in the waiting room?
What does Herrera look like? She's a spec. Oh.
Matt. Mariana.
Hello?
Mariana.
No, it's me, Judge.
Okay, are you ready?
I could wait.
No. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt.
Judge, I have two. One that needs a Spanish interpreter, but the first one, Shake, I don't think does. He's here on 3 cases.
Correct.
Conditions or anything that we need to address?
Yes, we've ordered him not to have any contact with the complaining witness, not to be, no weapons, not to go where she lives, where she works. There's a MOAC in place as well. I think that's the only thing that we
That's the
do,
only
right?
thing.
So we need him to sign the conditions and after that, he's free to go with you.
And then the second one is Herrera, Rachel.
Is that the theft case?
Yes.
Okay, on that one, just no drugs, no alcohol, no going back to JC Penney.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, good.
Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready? Abel?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Come up, Mr. Weber. Mr. Weber, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with assault of a family member. You're also charged with terroristic threat of a family or a household member. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. Just so you know, I appointed you a lawyer yesterday. Your lawyer is here with you now. He is on Zoom. We're going to do probable cause now.
Yes, Judge.
Judge, I don't know if you remember, we did probable cause yesterday. You found probable cause, unless you want to revisit it.
I do because I don't remember anything about it. And I want to be
Yes.
able to hear it with him so that we're all on the same page. Just real quick, if you don't mind.
No.
Okay.
Yes, Judge.
Please.
On March 4th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, officers were dispatched to an assault in progress call. The officer met with the complainant and the defendant, who both stated that an assault did not occur. The officer then met with a witness who stated that he observed the defendant swing at the complainant 3 to 4 times. The officer spoke with a second witness who stated that the defendant opened the passenger door and punched the complainant 5 times. And when the complainant got out of the car, observed the defendant strike the first witness in the torso and shoulders. The officer then spoke with a third witness who stated that he saw the defendant strike the complainant 3 to 4 times with a closed fist and heard the defendant state he would fuck you up to the complainant.
Mr. Weber, I don't want you to have any contact with this person. Do you understand me?
In Your Honor, if I may, after having contact with the complainant and Sebastian for me as well, we would be okay with no threatening and harassing.
No.
Yes, Judge.
No, I don't want you to have any contact with this person. And I want you to understand now that I'm going to protect every person in my county, regardless of who they are, what color they are, they're a small farm animal. Do you understand? Don't have contact with this person. If I find that you violate these conditions, if I find that you become a danger to my city, if I find that you pick up a new case, I'm going to revoke these bonds and I wouldn't let them hide. Do you understand?
Judge, if I may.
Please.
Judge, the CW was the one that came into court yesterday. She's a clerk for the Harris County District. She's a clerk there in Harris County.
Say it again?
She's a clerk there in Harris County.
The complaining witness is a clerk here in Harris County?
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
She's the one that gave us those affidavits yesterday that you showed me.
I understand, but I've got, go ahead. Go ahead.
She did not have any visible injuries. She states to me and to the district attorney that they were fighting over the keys and that it was just that it was mutual and that no injury occurred. She did not have any bruising again. She told that to the officer when she was arrested. Oh, I'm sorry, when my client was arrested. There were no visible injuries, nothing that would corroborate what the witnesses are saying.
There are 3 different independent, unrelated witnesses who see first 4 to 5 punches in the head, and then as he allegedly takes her out of the car, these same witnesses see 3 to 4 punches in the stomach as well.
Again, Judge, if that were the case, we'd have some injury, Judge. We don't have any injuries that are noted by the police in the report or by the CW when I saw her yesterday or the prosecutor when he spoke to her yesterday, Judge.
Judge, just to confirm, yes, that's what they told us as well. The same thing. There were no visible injuries, no bruising, and that's why I'm asking you, we'd be fine with no threatening harassment.
Come up, ma'am. I want to make sure that every single person here is protected, you know, and 99.9% of the time, I always like to follow what the complaining witness is, meaning you, what your wishes are, because, you know, I really take that into account. I have to be honest that from what the witness's statements say, it sounds really, really just aggravating and just, I don't want you to say anything. And so when I see something of this nature, it really takes me back. And that's why, you know, there's a method to my madness and why I do what I do, and to, you know, to protect you, because I don't want something to happen to you. That's because you're the person I care about. What would you like?
I put in those affidavits in non-prosecution for a reason. I never called the police. I don't know what they found.
I don't want to talk about the case. I just want to know, what do you want to have contact with this person?
Yes.
we deal with a lot of things together, he didn't hurt me, so I want to.
There is an order for protection that is in place now. I don't give a rat's behind what is going on. I don't care what stressors you have in your life. But if I find that you put hands on anyone, I'm gonna put my hands all over your bonds and I'm gonna rip it. Do you understand? I don't care what is going on in your life. You put hands. It's really not gonna go well. Number one. Number two, the court order that I have now, the order for protection, says that you're not to have any threatening or harassing contact with the complaining witness. I don't care what you think is threatening or harassing. It's what she perceives. So can conduct in and of itself violate this thing? If I go like this, is that threatening or harassing? It is, and it will land you in jail. Do you understand? I will do what you wish, but if I find anything happens in the future that hands are put, threats are made, I'm going to yank the bonds and that's it. Okay. So if you guys want to do a rip now, I don't know if you've already done it.
We've already,
but okay.
It's fun, Judge.
So do you mind filing a threatening, harassing, no weapons? You're not to be in possession of weapons as well. Do you understand? Okay, take a seat for me while we get everything ready for you, sir.
Amended mob, Judge?
Yeah.
This already where we sit on Mr. Weber.
You want just a normal setting? Abel?
Yes, sir.
Here's Wade.
Yes.
5, 6 through the 8.
What'd you
May
say?
6 through the 8.
May 6th to the 8th.
How's the 8th?
Okay.
It's yours. Okay, Abel, thanks for coming back, man.
See you, Judge.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Ready?
be really easy.
I like easy.
Okay, good afternoon, about 3 o'clock, you owe me in the interest of justice on a Francis Ike.
Okay, I don't remember.
It's an old theft to be, but he's in the Fort Bend County Jail, and I guess they reached out when they notified, or when they found out they had the hold.
Okay.
I just spoke to the chief across the hallway, since you're chiefless right now. She went ahead and took a look at his criminal history and all that stuff. They're filing a nollie for your signature, and I was told to report back by today on what's happened.
Sign it right now.
So as soon as it comes through, that's what's happening.
Do you want to wait for a copy?
Oh, I don't need it, but that's okay. But thank you, sir.
Easy money.
All right.
Thanks.
Irfan Saif?
Irfan, Saif?
Stare.
Any questions about them?
Anything else? Ramona, anything else? Who? What page?
It's an appointed attorney, maybe.
Pereira, Rachel.
Yes. Let me see if there's something.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may we approach real quick? This is one of our interns in bond forfeiture, and she was coming to see things today, so I
Nice
just
to
wanted to
meet
introduce
you.
you.
For coming?
Yeah.
So, what do you mean, just bond forfeiture?
She's in the bond forfeiture division of the DA's office, but
Okay.
she never sees real dockets, so she wanted to come down and kind of see how
Nice.
things would go.
They don't file the sire facias anymore, don't they? Don't, do they? Right?
Actually, we don't.
Or they like try to collect from people, basically.
Oh, no, not bond forfeiture. No, I don't think
I
so.
guess because we revoke instead of forfeit. I think that's why. Right.
And there's like a civil side as well.
It's because you're trying to get blood from a turnip anyways, right? Most people don't, have a lot of money and then you try to get them for all the thousands of dollars and that, so that's why. But anyways, nice to meet you. Come, feel free to hang out anytime.
It was a good experience. Nice to see how it works.
Yeah, feel free to hang out more.
Thanks, Judge.
Did you guys file bond conditions on Bird? So no driving, no weapons. Please.
So now you do research all weekend. Just a little bit of research. Okay. At least I won't be alone.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll let you know.
Yeah, there are videos.
Yeah.
Samuels? No, I put no conditions.
Minute? Parent helping you required to know all violations that random drug testing and drug availability. No driving has to be found out as license to or because that's the first of all. Just have to do that. Monday and Friday, you're going to see Mexicans. And tell me for sure. That's sending them. This is your title. If you have any questions about this in the future, not seeing myself use another, they call that, anything like that.
Watch the yes.
Even if you're not getting all of the. They have the senior. Finally, I have your next slide, and that's the and we do need to pay that. We don't have to. Okay, so please make sure. And then have you sign, figure out what's paperwork, and then we will. Okay. Alright. Then we're going to last one. There you go. Yeah, good. Court? Yeah. Right this way. I'm going to go through documents with you today. Everything that you're signing, you're going to sign those two documents. You're going to get a copy of the claim. First one is going to be your bond conditions, which I have orders. So for the moment, you are currently on bond, so it's going to be the no drugs, no alcohol, appear in court when required to, then do law violations, random drug testing, which I'll go over in just a moment, and then don't drive unless you have valid liability insurance and a valid driver's license in your name.
Moran, do you want to do something?
Judge, the first one is page.
2501. Desert, hey, Jones was no PC by the magistrate. What say you guys? Same thing? Okay.
That's it, Judge. That's it.
Okay, I think we're done then.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna give Mr. Mallard a reset date and.
Yep.
Bond conditions for Weber and Berger and United.
Say it again?
Bond conditions for Weber and Berger.
Got
I have a question for you guys.
Give me a second.
Thank you, Judge.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Yes, ma'am. All right, that's it.